Hello, my name is Grant Werstick and welcome to another video lesson for the Hippocratic Diaries. Today we're going to be talking about opening up the hips and the lower spine and also engaging your butt muscles, your glutes. And again, these are common problems that I'm running into with every client. So this is a continuation of our last video lesson when we talked a lot about ground engagement and moving on the floor. Okay, most people just don't have the mobility that they should have regardless of age. And so this is the next step where we're focusing on the core areas that tend to cause problems. Again, that's the hips, the lower spine, and the glutes. So we're going to get into that in just a little minute. Just a few business details first. If you just happen to stumble upon us on the web, on YouTube, or maybe a friend passed you this link, I hope you're enjoying the content and I hope you continue to watch us. And honestly, the video content is maybe about 5-10% of what I actually do every month. All my best stuff is put in the written newsletter, so if you haven't already started subscribing, I encourage you to do that because that's where you can get the best stuff, and a lot of what I write there connects to here. So sometimes when you're just watching the videos and you're not getting the offline content, you're missing out on a lot. So again, very minimal investment. You're looking at $50 a year, and really that's one night out of your life, and you're getting some great stuff. I always tell people if you only learn one new thing throughout the whole year, that one new thing that you learn could be worth several hundred, if not several $1,000s to you. So for $50, no big deal. And then secondly, I can guarantee you're going to learn more than one thing a year. Each issue, I'd be surprised if you're not learning 4 or 5 new things, and even that's lowballing it. Because again, this is content that nobody else is talking about, and most people haven't even heard about it until recently. So that's kind of the housekeeping stuff. So we'll get into the exercise portion. Again, our society, the way it's geared, we tend to be sitting a lot, and that wouldn't even be so bad on its own. It's the way we're sitting that kind of causes a lot of problems. I'm not going to talk about posture, that's been done to death. There's tons of great resources on that. But what I will talk about is just kind of how you can, if you are going to be relaxing, you want to do it in a way that's still supporting your body. We're always sitting in couches or recliners, and the biggest problem with that is that one, it's keeping your body in a somewhat unnatural position. Okay, it's not keeping you nice and straight and tall. And then secondly, your muscles aren't being engaged at all when you're sitting on a couch or on a recliner. Okay, it's totally soft. You're just encouraged to plop back down, and versus sitting in a chair at an office per se, where ideally you're forced to at least use some of your own musculature to keep yourself sitting up. All right, so one of my Russian martial arts instructors was very adamant in saying the fastest way to grow old is sitting on a couch, and I couldn't agree more, because not only are your muscles getting weaker, but your back is really out of alignment when you're doing that. Your hips start to tighten up, and basically you're just losing your ability to move freely. Versus sitting on the floor where your hips are nice and open, you're forced to use some of your own musculature to keep yourself up. Again, these are all passive ways of keeping yourself at least in half-decent shape throughout your entire life. All right? Working out is only a small part of the deal. Let's say you're in the higher percentage that works out, an hour a day. Well, we're looking at 5 to 7 hours a week there of activity, and what's going on with the other 23 hours of the day? And that stuff, that extra 23 hours a day, both through diet and exercise, that stuff is going to have dramatically more impact in your life than that 1 hour of exercise that you're doing. So we have to be conscious of everything that we're doing in our lives. And this is why we see tribal societies, their seniors are dramatically more mobile than our seniors, because they're sitting on the floor, because they're engaging the ground, because they're active well into their late life, and they're still involved in the day-to-day work that's necessary. Again, retirement's a very new concept to us, and I'm not saying you can't relax and you can't slow down, but what I am saying is that you have to be careful about how you're doing it and making sure that you're not taking yourself away from activities that are actually very beneficial for you. So again, tribal societies, without a lot of domestication around them, they're almost always going to be sitting cross-legged.
Go.
Alright, so again, tribal societies sitting on the floor cross-legged, there's a huge benefit to this. Number one, our hips are being kept open, and if anything, they're actually being encouraged into a gentle stretch this way. So I don't know if you've ever done a really intense leg workout and then tried to sit cross-legged. It's pretty hard, but that's when you're going to notice that gentle stretching in your butt muscles and your hips. Also too, you're going to be sitting up straight, and you're going to have to use your own musculature to keep yourself supported. So again, this is going to be a much healthier way to sit. And again, there's tons of ways to sit on the floor, right? We can do the knees tucked, we can do legs straight out. Even in this position, even though it's pretty relaxing, the idea is that you're still engaging a certain degree of your own musculature, and we're not forcing the body to do anything that's unnatural for it. This is why sitting on the floor is going to be helpful for us, because it's keeping us mobile. And the second thing you'll notice, you can sit on a couch for 2 or 3 hours at a time, but to sit on the floor, you're probably going to be changing positions, every 15-20 minutes, maybe more than that. And the big thing with that is, again, it's a low-level activity, and it just shows that your body wasn't meant to stay in one position for a long period of time, all right? But through modern-day inventions, we've been kind of seduced into this thing where we're sitting for extended periods of time when we shouldn't be. And again, anytime you need to understand the value of frequent movement, just think of the last road trip you took. Maybe you were in the car for 4 or 5 hours before you got out. Just think how stiff you felt when you got out of that vehicle, and that's essentially the same problem you're going to experience with frequent couch sitting. All right, so we're made to move. We need to move more, and basically, if you're spending a lot of time sitting, you're going to have that road trip feeling, pretty much every day of your life, which is why so many people are so stiff and so injury prone. All right, so now what we're going to get into is some exercises that we can actually use to help open up our hips and our lower back. This video will probably be 3 segments, so make sure you follow all 3 of them to get all the content.